has started within the cafeteria at that platform. The cold form metal framing, the masonry wall configurations, infills of walls are opening up to have a bigger servery opening in that wall. So all that work has been done or is ongoing. The new walk-in coolers and freezers has been installed. And then the demolition of the electrical and mechanical is ongoing in the cafeteria. So a lot of activity, a lot of people in the cafeteria and a lot of people in the kitchen. Because there's a lot of work to do between now and the start of school. But it's moving right along. Job meeting today and talking with Fontaine. They felt that they're gonna, we've kind of given them a heads up that said, look, if you're not gonna make it, we need to know so we have time to plan. So we need to know by, and we gave them a date, we said we need to know by July 13th if you foresee a problem finishing the kitchen or the cafeteria. So as of today's meeting, they don't see any issues. I mean, we know it's going to be tight, they're going to be working to the end, but they don't see anything that will slow them down and prevent them from being able to open the cafeteria and the kitchen for the start of school. So that's great. Right. Mm-hmm. So looking ahead over the next month, again on the site, the stormwater, drainage systems and piping, the new parking lot between the two buildings, that's being shaped out now and the underground utilities are being installed there. Removing the existing utilities, installation of the new systems, fire pump house foundation work. So the foundations are boxed out and they're ready to pour, so that'll start soon, coming up out of the ground pretty soon. New electrical transformer and duct bank. So we just heard from National Grid, and once Chris signs off on the order for the new service, then the first thing will be to schedule the new pole installation. Once that's in place, then they can run the duct bank to the new pole location. And that'll get the new power into the transformer and then into the addition part of the building. Kitchen and cafeteria. Really what's next is completing the sheetrock in the kitchen. They started the floor tiles and the FRP panels. So the wall panels, the easily cleaned panels for a kitchen are going to be installed. The tile floor. Framing the walls in the cafeteria. They still have a little bit of demolition to do, but they'll finish that quickly and start on rebuilding. And as I mentioned, the kitchen hook was installed today. So a lot of activity in there. NSBA has been out twice since the groundbreaking. They were out yesterday and they were out the day after the groundbreaking. They come out periodically, take a look around and just verify that what we're telling them in our reports is what they see when they come out. So
it's normal for them to come out so frequently?
Once a month.
Do they do that as part of their reimbursement process? Is that how that works, Chris?
It's part of just the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not necessarily tied to a reimbursement.
Oh, right.
It's just kind of tied to the overall management and oversight.
Okay.
So any questions, other questions on construction update?
Is the parking lot going to be fully tar or is it a temporary?
For the start of school, they'll do a binder course and they'll hold off on doing the finish course until they have everything done and they can do it all at once.
So next year?
Yes.
Okay. And the hood, did you use the existing penetration to the roof or did you make another one?
I don't know.
I think it's a new one because it's in a different location.
Okay.
I don't know if they've done that part yet. I think they've just installed the hood
No, just
inside.
they haven't gone through. Because as soon as they go through, just let me know so I can either have the Titan roofing
Oh, yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I don't know. They just hung it today.
They just hung it.
haven't
Okay, so they haven't
connected
gone
it
through.
now.
Okay. And when you hang, you put on the new equipment on the old roof, are you going to be, is that going to be up and running?
No.
No, you
It's placing it there this summer. That won't really be operational until the three-phase power is up and running.
Okay, but are you using the existing structure to put them on? Or are you putting new ones down?
They're reinforcing, I believe, like for instance in the.
For the new ERVs,
I just
the
want
new
to know
air
when there's
handling
gonna be holes
units,
put in the roof, that's all I need to know.
they're gonna have holes because they're gonna be on new curbs.
Okay,
And there's also gonna be some new equipment on the kitchen, like the condenser for the walk-in coolers.
okay. So just, a little email when they first start putting holes through there. That's it.
Just in case nobody noticed, Andrea is representing GCAM today.
I'm here for my own, but I'm also a member of GCAM, and I believe strongly that these meetings be recorded. Remember that whole debate, how many years ago?
I don't think it should be a debate.
No, right, me neither. But it was a long time ago, we already debated this.
All right, good.
All right, so financial update, again, passed around the same form that we had the last time. So the bottom of column A, that's our PFA or project funding agreement budget. So the budget is $34,208,000. The bottom of column B is what's been invoiced to date. So far, what's been invoiced is just under $6 million. But really what we've contracted, we've received invoices of just under $6 million of the $27.9 million that's been contracted to date or has been allocated. So we're on budget, or under budget at this point. We don't see anything at this point to make any changes. There's no major issues that we're aware of. There are a couple of change orders that we're looking to move forward with the contractor. At this point, it looks like it could be a net credit for what we know about. One is obviously the well water issue, and we're still, there's been some back and forth, and we asked for some revised pricing. One issue that came up, and I don't know if this is the time to bring it up, but one issue that came up, and that we did receive a price from the contractor about it, and wanted to bring it up before the committee and get your thoughts on whether it's something we want to pursue. And it had to do with in the existing cafeteria, where there's the use of the platform, and that the band would be using the platform for different things. You are going to be having a new stage for the gymnasium. But there is the existing platform that can be used and will be used in the future. And the question of how much or whether to modify the current plan to enhance lighting for performances for that platform. So one thought that we had, we did ask the contractor to price it out. We got a price, and it was significant. One thought we had, though, was to maybe modify the plans to include adding electrical power in that location, so that if at a later date the committee decided that they wanted to add additional lighting for performances, they could, so they have the infrastructure in place. But you wouldn't, that way you wouldn't have to commit to spending those funds at this point, because the change from the contractor was in the neighborhood of $25,000. We would recommend that maybe.
So 25,000 was a significant amount, you said when you said significant, it's 25,000 would be the cost for enhanced lighting?
Yes.
Okay.
And what's the cost for wiring it?
We haven't had that priced yet. But I think, one of our approaches is early in a project, you don't want to spend funds that might be discretionary. And adding lights that could be added later, there's no reason they couldn't be added later. You're not required to make that decision at this point in the project. But you would be required to get the electric in the wall.
The infrastructure, right.
So that would be a way that we would recommend if you're interested in doing this, if you're interested in that might be something down the road you want to consider, to maybe add the infrastructure at this point. And hold off on the lights. It's not that you can't do the lights.
Right, but the infrastructure.
Which would be wiring it for lights and then at some point doing the rest of the work? Like what would the infrastructure,
Just power.
Power, voltage, you need the appropriate amount. voltage and power, and I do have a feeling about this, you know, I go to the school, I use it, and I know how it's used currently. Lighting is always a problem. We have a PTO Christmas craft fair in the cafeteria. Lighting is a notorious problem in the cafeteria, right?
Well,
Right?
this would be
Superintendent?
general cafeteria lighting, this would be performance.
stage.
So, but with that said, so I know, it would be performance and stage and
And you
everything.
have a gym that has a stage with new performance lighting.
I know, but the reason why we want to keep that platform, and the reason why is because there's going to be smaller assemblies there, there's going to be performances there. We're not keeping the platform so there won't be, I mean, there's going to be reasons to have that lighting. So I strongly suggest at this point, we at least get the infrastructure in there so that we could possibly add the lighting that's needed for that room.
Just to be clear, what's in the construction documents now is we have pretty simple track lighting. That cove is already there, and we ripped it all out to get all the mechanical equipment out, but we're basically putting it back exactly as it used to be. So we have some pretty simple track lighting up there, not colored.
So it's all gonna be the
not
same what it
individual
used to be?
controlled,
Yeah.
But some simple track lighting up there, and we have a couple receptacles up there. But if we want to do more of a theatrical system, then you'd want more controls and more individualized outlets up there.
Well, what you're putting back up there is what we have now, or is it more?
I'm not too sure what you had now. It's less, what you have now is all the controls. There, you have lighting that has been installed up there, but then all the wirings run along the ceiling to the back wall and down into controls at that point. So you have all these big power cords running along the ceiling and daisy linked down. And I think that changes depending on if they're doing productions or not. I know sometimes we've gone through this school and we haven't seen those, and then sometimes we've gone through and we have seen all that wiring. So now the wiring is localized, but we just put up a simple kind of track light system so that you could use it for a presentation or
Lighting's gonna be better, it's LED, they're brand new lights. brand new-
right. The general lighting will be better,
It's
and
gonna be
that
much
track
better.
lighting will be better, but it's not giving you the color or the control of a theatrical lighting system.
I'll make a motion to authorize the installation of additional power for potential installation of theatrical color lighting in the future.
Can I ask one more question? Before
Yeah,
we vote
this
on
is a
it?
discussion problem.
Oh, sorry. Discussion. If we don't do that now, how cumbersome is it to do it in the future?
Oh,
You're gonna want to put it inside the walls before the walls are put up. That's what
Right.
you're trying to do.
or don't.
Right.
Oh, you can't do it afterwards?
No, it's
gonna be a lot
electrical, it's
more
good.
Open up a
Are you
wall
talking about the
inside.
electrical or are you talking about the lighting?
Just the electrical.
Electrical infrastructure.
Yeah, I think we should have the electrical. And correct me if I'm wrong, but based on my conversations, that space is gonna be much smaller because it's gonna be ADA compliant, and therefore there will be a ramp. They're gonna take some of the back stage. And when that happens, the opportunity to really have performances the way we had before is gonna be diminished. It's a good thing to leave it there for some presentations and all that, but I really don't know whether or not that stage will be used for performances the way it's been used
Well,
before,
just have the power.
especially given the, exactly, have the
Right.
power, and then we can talk about lighting later if we need
Right.
to.
But you know it is gonna be used for band. It's not gonna be used, but Greg.
For classroom purposes.
Right,
Yes.
Greg Williams said it's gonna be used for
Yes.
band and, I would love to hear his opinion on the lighting right now, though, you know what I mean? More is better when it comes to lighting.
Yeah, so we can have those conversations going forward. I think the motion Chris made is, from my perspective, is the good one. Is the
Good
right
one, yeah,
right
at least we're ready for it if we wanna add
Can
it.
I ask a question? What do you mean by it's significant? Does the 25,000 include the power?
Yes.
So then the lighting is not a considerable jump to get to the lights because the 25,000's got some number for the power in it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's
just,
significant, I agree with his motion, but I'm trying to get a handle as to what it is. I mean, are we talking that the lighting is the 25,000 or is it the
The
entire?
total change was about
Total
25 in that neighborhood.
$25,000, so we're looking at probably $6,000 or $7,000 now to do this, and then we're gonna go back and pick up these lights?
Well, I don't know, that's something you can decide later.
Well, see, I don't think it's significant, because the project came in under budget, and I think we're shortchanging ourselves by not planning to do it in the future. I don't mind, object to the emotion, But I think we gotta come back and do it.
Oh, you mean you want to bring the motion a step further?
No, I don't wanna bring it a step further, I don't wanna forget it.
Oh, right.
Too many things at this
Good
table have been
point, though.
forgotten. And I don't want
Yeah,
this one to
good
be
point.
forgotten. So I think
Why
that the
don't we just
motion is
approve it
correct.
now?
The motion, because we don't have enough information. I think the motion is correct to get the power, but I'm concerned that this is gonna get forgotten.
Well, we track potential
Not so
items.
much by you, but by us.
No, but I think it's one of the, where I was going with it is, we would recommend a lot of times either do something, approve it, we would recommend that, you know what, we don't think you can afford it, or we don't think it's the right thing to do. And then we have this deferrable item, and I think this falls into that discretionary spending. We don't know what's gonna happen when we start opening up the walls in the existing building. And so we wouldn't be advising you very well if we were to suggest that you go ahead with some of this discretionary spending right off the bat when we're just doing the addition, which is the easy part. So let's,
We're $1 million under, around 25,000, not even 25,000.
yeah, I think we'll be fine. I'm not worried
Yeah.
about anything.
Right.
I think you're just being
I
cautious.
I
is the way to
second
go.
this motion.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so any more discussion? All's in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Okay.
All right, good. Forget it.
Yeah.
Financial,
So, do you mind if I, we voted and everything, but one more question. It sounded as if it didn't even have to be decided today. What is the cutoff date if in the future there is a change based on information that we collect and there's a need to add lighting?
You have, until the project is closed out, you can always,
That's good.
because the other thing with theatrical lighting is this doesn't necessarily, once you get the infrastructure in, this doesn't have to be installed by the electrician. This is kind of your, yeah, you can buy this stuff and hook it up yourself. Attach it to the structure and just plug it in.
It's
So,
like a DJ does lighting. You just
Right.
put them on stands, and as long as the power's there, you can plug them in anywhere you need to.
Well, that's what we do right now. For
Right.
performances, we bring the lighting and then we hang them on the railing that exists, but I just want to make sure that we know the cutoff date if there is one. Okay, good, thank you.
And can I just, how do you know where to put these outlets? Like, because there's lighting that can hang from the ceiling, or?
well,
like,
this
how do
stuff
you know?
usually has to hang from some sort of structure. So we usually put in a metal bar that can support the weight of the lights. And then you know, across that length, you'll put a number of different outlets.
Like there's one there now.
I think if
There
we
was
put
one.
the outlets in that cove,
Up
then you'll
above,
have a certain
right.
amount of flexibility and it'll look much cleaner
Yeah,
than what you
alright.
have today.
Okay.
Yeah.
very good.
Good.
We already did the financial update. All right. Jones listed architects, Chris.
Great. Well, I don't have too much to report. As Tim said, everything's going smoothly. I did that walkthrough yesterday with the MSBA. It was great. Going into the cafeteria, there were like 40 guys in there, all with sledgehammers and power tools, and the MSBA was impressed.
All right.
So in terms of on our end, I looked it up. We were using this online submittal exchange process, and we have so far processed 440 submittals, which blows my mind. So that's, you know, everything from, as I've said before, from door handles to paint colors. We haven't gotten into paint colors yet, but we've gotten into flooring colors and carpets and all of that thing. We've had about 47 RFIs, requests for information from the contractor towards us that we've responded to. We've issued 20 architectural supplemental instruction reports back to the contractor. So that the whole processing of paperwork is going very well. Yeah, I mean, those are the numbers. I could go into the nitty gritty, but it's pretty dry. In terms of FF&E, Helen's been out this week, but she's coming back next week and immediately has a meeting on Monday with our furniture consultant and the district, and we'll be making some kind of final decisions and prepping that order and figuring out what we're going to buy off of the state contract and what we put out to bid, and what makes the most sense and where we have the greatest flexibility and how to get the best deal. We've also been moving forward with technology. We've actually already ordered and I'm forgetting off the top of my head if it was 2 or 3, but 2 or 3 different Chromebook carts. And this was thanks to Cheryl and Bill. I think it was a great idea is to start getting the technology to the teachers now.
Oh, yeah.
So that they're not just slammed with
Yeah.
new interactive projectors and new laptops and new student computers all at once. So that also helped on our end as we started to be able to figure out the purchase order process. So that has been ordered, and hopefully that will get here in time for school opening in 2017.
Cool.
And then we have to start timing when the furniture gets delivered and when the technology gets delivered. Some of the technology is dependent on furniture, like the little podium carts at the front of the classrooms. But for the majority, they're separate. They're on 2 different timelines. So we're working with our consultants to schedule all of that.
And the only other thing I'd like to add on is we got an email from DEP today. We have our permit for the well.
Oh, cool.
However, we have to do an initial testing before they'll grant the final permit. It's, what was it, per PFAS?
Right.
It is, let's see, that was to test for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances. And I guess it's a very specialized testing procedure that has to be done. You can't wear raincoats when you're doing it. You can't have any Teflon in your sampling material. But Sanborn and Head, I believe, indicated that they've done that type of testing, and it would just be to get a cost from them for what it would cost to do it. Other than that, DEP had no issue. I did talk to the fire chief. He is working on policies and procedures regarding using the burn facility down there for the fire department. And once he has those written and completed, I will make sure they get to our records here to be put in with the well information. So.
Great.
Do you want to see Whitewater can do testing, or you want to go?
I'd like to get a quote from them, but I'd like to also go get one from Sanborn Head, just
Could
to
I
see.
get a copy of that?
You have a copy of your email. Yes.
Okay, I'll give it to her Wednesday.
And actually, they gave a link to the guidelines on how to go about doing the test too, as part of that same email, so that was great news.
It's great news.
Yeah,
We've been
it is.
pushing gently for a long time, and Vern's been fielding a couple questions. Vern from Sanborn Head has been getting questions from DEP, and which have spanned the gamut, and so we were wondering when it would finally get here, so that's great.
It's not an issue if someone else tests it in Sanborn?
No, I don't think so. As long as they follow the proper guidelines, Jim. And it's a special, if you want, I'll send you the email so you can see what the guidelines
It's
are.
just like changing center fields, sometimes it doesn't work.
Well, the company that John's talking about is the one who does our water testing, so they'll be continuing on with the testing afterwards, so if they know how to do it,
Okay.
it wouldn't hurt to have them do it then. So, and I guess the biggest issue regarding testing for those chemicals is it's been known that the Class B foam that has been used at air bases has this chemical in it, and right now Westfield's dealing with it because of Barnes.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
So with Westover being within 5 miles of the well, they're gonna require us to do the testing on it. Plus, they don't know if maybe Westover at some point may have used our burn facility and used foam as a testing site. So, because nobody can tell them that foam testing has never been done there.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Any other business come before the committee?
I had two items. One is, last year, and I should have brought this up a little while ago, but last year we ran new electrical out to the pavilion, and it went into the greenhouse. When that was taken down, it killed the electrical out to the pavilion. There's a refrigerator out there, there's music, there's batting cages, that kind of stuff. So there's no power out there.
To the cement built, to the cinder block?
Yeah, the pavilion.
Concession stand?
So there's a part of me that feels like this project is sort of a do no harm. It's not gonna cost a lot of money. Is there any way that that wiring can get connected to the school as part of this effort?
Already,
You got that covered?
yeah.
Beautiful, thank you.
It's going to the new pump house. Pump house is right there, at that first telephone pole.
And then from there.
Okay,
Yeah, I already talked to.
Great.
Because that was a concern that you guys had, so I
Great.
said we just need power.
okay, great.
No sense in going to the high school. Because if they
Wherever
would
it
be
needs to
going
go,
across
yeah.
the
Right,
park.
but it
Yeah.
will be off until we have some of
Yeah,
these
I
things hooked
understand.
up, so that's the
Yep.
downside.
Yeah, that's fine. And the second is, and this goes back a few months, the signage, which will eventually, you're gonna run electrical, what did we decide for the signage and the location? Because early on, there were some conversations about the location, and can it be something that serves both schools? And
Right.
I just never knew where we ended up. And if now is not the right time to talk about it, that's fine.
So I didn't bring anything to show you anything, so I'll have to describe it. But the telephone pole that we're taking out where the buses are coming in,
Yep.
the sign is going to be right near that driveway. So we decided not to put it near the parent drop-off loop, which was just East Meadow, but to kind of put it on the driveway that was a little bit between East Meadow and the high school.
Okay.
And it does have an LED display at the bottom, kind of as low key as possible, but
Yeah.
still readable from the road. And then it does just say east, or no, it says who knows what above that. Bob's school. I think we decided at the bottom.
We're saving money on letters.
Right.
There is no minute.
So,
I'm sorry.
but the signs, when you said the driveway between, you mean close to 202 though? And it's not going to be close to the school, it's going to be closer to the highway, right?
Right. I
Right,
think it's
okay.
about 20 feet off of the highway.
Oh, okay,
But
great.
it's- if a typical site plan, 202 is this way, high school's here, and East Meadow's here. It's on that driveway that kind of.
Oh, I see, yeah.
There's a little bit between the two schools.
So the plan is it will serve both schools, right?
The idea is that, especially the LED lettering, that the sign itself will list Bob's Elementary School,
Right.
but that the LED lettering could.
Could be whatever.
And it'll be big
Both
enough
schools.
to be able to see, I guess, is what comes down.
That was
to.
our,
That's my
kind of
concern.
pushed back and forth with the planning board, but Rachel Loeffler from Berkshire Design Group did some studies on how fast cars are going and the distance from the road, and felt like this was the minimum that we could do, given those constraints, and so that's what we got.
Right, good.
Anything else?
Joe? I had one little point I want to bring up that, just a point of interest, that we started this 3 years ago, that we were brought on board. And we first started getting the designer on board with the request for services. And 2 years ago, we just finished a feasibility and decided to do East Meadow rather than West Street. And at that point in time, we laid out a construction schedule, and we missed the dedication ceremony by 7 days from that schedule that was done 2 years ago.
No way.
So just a applause to
Great.
everybody for keeping on track. That was great for all of us.
Now we can fall apart.
No.
No. And I want to mention something too. I just want to remind everybody that the PTO is having that brick fundraiser that can't be a part of everything right now. It has to come at the end. So I just reminding you that that's still really important. Every meeting it's brought up, and there's one particular woman in PTO who's in charge, and she just wanted me to let you all know that that's still going to happen. And we're starting to plan it, organize it.
So that's not part of this meeting.
Well, I know, but I'm just had to bring it because we're all here. Okay, sorry. I'll be quiet
We're
now.
gonna be at home and be like, oh my God, she's so close to the camera.
I can't win. Can't win.
All right, anything else? Ross, go ahead, Jim.
We said at our next meeting, or I brought up our next meeting, was a possibility it could be out at the site so we could tour the building. Is that still reality?
Yeah, very much.
Okay. We're not gonna hold, are we gonna hold it at the
Can we
building?
do it at
Yes,
the high
yeah,
school, or-
we'd have a tour, and we can have the tour after the meeting or before the meeting.
Just go
It'll
into a
still be
classroom,
light out,
what
and
we
we'll
did
get a
here
classroom over there,
So,
is the plan.
or classroom, or do we usually use
Media center?
a library, yeah?
So on the 10th
All right.
of August? is it?
So, and we'll have that as the location, sounds good? Same time or earlier?
It's gonna be light, there's not a lot of lights there.
Yeah. But it's just, it's light out at 6:30 as long as it's not raining like this.
It's August, it starts. Are you allowed to go inside
I
the
mean-
building at East Meadow?
I haven't been in there, I've been in once, and it's a mess. The 10th of
August would be probably Still a little messy.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll do it in the high school, we'll have the meeting in the high school.
So on tour.
Media center?
Back to the high school.
Yeah.
Media center.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
I could,
So say that again, please. What are we having? The meeting at the high school?
media center.
So the high school library,
We're touring first at 6:30.
we're gonna tour first.
Yeah.
And then after
Okay.
the tour, we'll convene at the media center and hold the school building committee.
And the tour is gonna, where are we gonna meet for the tour?
Media center.
At the high school, and then we're gonna walk over there, and then we're gonna come back to the high school and have our meeting. Okay, got it.
Got it.
Thank you.
6:30 on the 10th.
And bring
Use
umbrellas.
umbrellas.
Yep,
You can use my hard
okay.
hat.
Anything
Your
else?
pink card, yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very nice.